Welcome everyone to week number 4 of Welcome to Tree Town. I am your host, Ryan McCooch, and today I am joined by Jamie Amrine, the club founder. Jamie, thank you for coming on to the show. You mentioned that you listened to all 3 previous episodes, so you're coming prepared, and we appreciate the support, of course. So it's good to have you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're here in the treehouse, obviously.
Yep.
You were doing some light bulb replacement earlier,
Oh, yeah.
so we're pulling you from that. Thank you for doing that.
No worries.
But as we enter the 5th year of AFCAA Arbor as a club, one of the big things that I wanted to talk to you about was your vision of the club, not just in the past, but also in the present.
Sure.
So looking here, we're about to start year number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Is this what you imagined your club to be like?
Sure. I'm not sure I imagined it getting to the point it's gotten to. I think it's kind of exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
Both on the field performance, never expected us to be, sort of a national contender from the very first year. And then to see the way things have built, the number of people coming around the club, that we have a podcast, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And we've got the treehouse now, and I think we're set up to do some pretty exciting things at our games this year with a new venue.
Yeah.
And then of course the women's team coming on, which is just as exciting as year one.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking to Bilal earlier, and he mentioned that it felt like year one with all the women's team coming in and the treehouse, everything you mentioned. Everything's looking very cool.
Right.
If you can look back at year 1 and look back at year 5 right now, is there one thing that stands out in your mind that's like, wow, this has been a huge change?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that's exciting is that we've seen some continuity with players. I think that's been not something that's changed so much as something that's kind of remained consistent, that guys are wanting to come back and play for this club year after year.
Yeah.
We've got guys who have been gone for a year and have come back again now. And so that's exciting. The fact that we would get that kind of energy and loyalty and excitement about being a part of this club, even from the player standpoint, is kind of not something I really expected. So that's really, really exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of the NPSL, you sometimes see sorts of full-scale roster upheaval, basically.
Sure.
In terms of the current layout of the league as a whole, do you think it's something that makes AFC stand out?
I think we see it more since we've come on board. I think there's sort of a model of club that the league has been trying to attract.
Yeah, absolutely, because you see with Grand Rapids also.
We see it with Grand Rapids. We see it with Kalamazoo. So we see it a lot in our area because there's so many clubs that kind of fit that mold, where they're drawing good crowds. They're very competitive on the field. Yeah. They have great ownership that engages well with the fans. It has good rapport with the squad and the staff and everything. And so that model of club that the league has been really going after, I think, it means that we're not that unique in a lot of those aspects. Although I like to think that we're somewhat of a model for other clubs in that aspect. So.
It's nice to be seen as sort of like not perhaps one of the forebears, but one of those people that's right in the mix of everything with it too.
Yeah.
Going back to look at some previous memories, is there any memory that you have that stands out in your mind?
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
it's a loaded question with how deep the history is.
Yeah. No. Far and away the biggest, most thrilling memory was Game 1 at Hallway the first year.
Yeah.
Just we hoped and prayed we'd get 100 people through the gate, and we got 2,300 or something like that, or whatever the final number was. And it was unbelievable, and we skydived the ball in, and we just all the cool things that happened that day. It was amazing and overwhelming. But there's been exciting points along the way too that are kind of up there. So the sort of each year the very last game in the playoffs, which unfortunately has always been a loss.
Yeah.
But has been intense and exciting. I mean, we had the game against Cleveland 3 years ago, and they went on to win the national championship after basically not scoring a goal in the regional playoffs. And that, that 120 minutes of that game was intense, and the goals called back and all that kind of stuff.
It's something plenty of people still talk about, fans and
Yeah.
people in the organization like you.
Exactly. And then, the next year against Detroit was intense and wild and painful, but also, just exciting and amazing to have been a part of that game.
Right.
And then, of course, this year, the sort of the disappointment with how that game against Duluth went.
Yeah.
When we think we probably should have done better, but so there's been these big exciting moments along the way, and I'm excited to see what comes this year. Because every year there's been something that's
there's
just
been
been
something thrilling,
like unbelievable happen, and so the question is, what's it going to be this year?
Yeah. I want to take you back to year one,
Mm-hmm.
the first amateur tournament in
Sure.
Kansas.
Yep.
Bilal mentioned that
Yeah.
you had to step in a little bit as a coach.
Sure. Yeah.
Can you take me through what that experience was like?
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of coaching. I came on, sat on the bench. Our coach, Dave Heavestreet, wasn't there yet. He'd had to travel in late. I think he was giving an exam at school or something like that. He was a teacher. And so he flew in later and got to the game, I don't know, 10 minutes after it started or 20 minutes after it started. But I had to get the guys all wrangled together and over to the bench, and then basically just handed it off to Kyle and TJ, because they knew everybody, and they were kind of the older guys that everybody looked up to. So
Yeah.
so they got it all going, and I just sort of sat on the bench and watched until he showed up and took over.
You were there to rally the troops. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of my favorite videos that the club has done, talking about with Kyle about it. It's a ton of fun to watch him retell that story. Looking again, as we continue to look in the past, though, but have expectations or have they changed really from year 1 to 5?
I would say so. Year 1 was about making it all work and getting it all going, and I think we thought we'd be pretty good on the field, and we were a solid team, but we finished right in the middle of the table, I think, of the 5-team league. The second year, we expected a step up in quality, knowing what Eric had achieved at Lansing. But a major element of that is what Eric is capable of, but also the kind of players he could bring in. And we obviously turned over a lot of the roster that second year and had no idea what we had on our hands.
Did entering the NPSL sort of affect that also? Or
yeah,
was
I think
it more
so.
business
I
as
think
usual?
so, because I think we knew that the caliber of team, when you go from that those regional leagues or those other leagues to the NPSL, is a step up.
Right.
And so we knew it was going to be competitive, and so we came in hoping to do well, but not really. At least I didn't quite know how well we were going to do. So that was a little bit of a surprise. Obviously, the expectations then stepped up the next year. We kind of set the bar and said, okay, we were in the hunt for first place in the conference, and we were right there with the team that won the national title that year.
Yeah.
We should be up there contending each year, and so after that. And we've lived up to those expectations and winning the conference the next 2 years. So, and being right there in a position to go on to the national Final Four. So that's going to be our goal every year is win the conference, go deep in the playoffs, and so I think that we've set that bar now.
Once you've hit that peak, you can more visualize it now after hitting that.
Absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit about you personally.
Sure.
How did you get into the sport?
Sure. So I've played since I was a kid. I was never very good. I always joke that
you and me both.
They gave me a uniform, and I got to watch from the bench in high school. I got to watch a lot of soccer games, and I played, of course, but I was never one of the really great players on the team by any means. And then now I've got kids. My son's 14. My daughter will be 12 next month, and my son's pretty serious into soccer. Not any kind of natural talent. But he works really, really hard at it, and I think actually AFCAA Arbor has been a point of inspiration for him. He goes out and seeks out those guys. He goes to training sessions and follows the coach around. He loves it. He lives and dies for the AFCAA Arbor season. He can't wait till it gets here. He just hangs waiting to find out who's going to be on the roster, so who's coming back. So he's really excited to see. We announced Jake coming back this year, and he loves Jake. And, we had a good relationship with him a couple years ago, so we're very excited to have him coming back to town. And that goes for a lot of other players. We've got a lot of guys coming in. I think some guys who haven't been announced yet that he doesn't know yet. And then my daughter played as well, but not. It's not her passion like it is for my son. So I coached her from kindergarten through 5th grade, so 6 years of coaching her team and rec and ed. She played a little bit of travel. Just didn't really catch on for her. She's got other interests, which is fine. But she gets excited about the team, and she hasn't really voiced her excitement yet for the women's team this year, but I think once she gets there and sees those women out there and sees how capable and talented and strong they are, that's just gonna be awesome. I want that influence for her in her life. So that'll be really exciting.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Now, you are a Tottenham fan.
I am.
Also.
Yeah.
I want to dig into how you became a Tottenham fan, because I am a Liverpool fan.
Okay.
And I think people, whenever, there's always a story behind someone supporting a side overseas.
Well, I'm an engineer, so it was pretty analytical, frankly. So I was kind of rounding up who it was that I'd like to support in the Premier League, and I had it in my mind that I was interested in a London team because I knew I'm more likely to travel to London and go see some games and things like that, which we got to do over the holidays this year.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then I wanted somebody who probably wasn't going to go down, so I wasn't looking for a full.
You wanted that security.
I wanted somebody that I could see on TV on a regular basis. So all of that makes it sound pretty cold and shallow in the choice. But then when I started to kind of observe the teams, I watched the way that Tottenham played. I love their style of play. I love that possession ball, and they've got that nucleus of English players, and they don't run the big squad the way that some of the other big teams do. So they've got to kind of work through all the issues like they are right now. They're going through these injury issues, and they had Son out at the Asian games and things like that. And you're forcing guys to step up, but now we're seeing guys like Harry Winks, and suddenly Sissoko's playing well, which is astonishing, and things like that. So it's pretty exciting, and they seem to, as a team, enjoy one another. You can tell that there's some camaraderie there, which is kind of exciting to watch. So we've been following them pretty closely for about 4 years now, my son and I especially, and we get up and go watch the matches at Conor O'Neill's and all that. But so it's fun. And then we saw them over the holidays. We went to London for a couple of weeks, and my son and I took the train up to Liverpool and watched them play at Everton, which was incredible.
What a game.
And then we watched them at Wembley, which frankly was kind of a disappointment. Not only because they lost, but the atmosphere in Wembley stinks. So we're excited for the new stadium to open. And we went and checked out the new stadium, but we want to go back when it's open. So
that's super exciting. It's always fun to think about making those pilgrimages. I haven't been to England yet.
Anfield,
I really want to go.
We didn't get to see Anfield when we were in Liverpool. We kind of took the train up for the day, got a cab to the stadium, and then walked back to the train station, which was like 3 miles away, because we couldn't get a cab.
Heck of a walk.
And I thought, well, if we had a cab, we'd get the guy to drive us by Anfield and at least see it.
Right.
But Everton Stadium was very cool. It's one of those old stadiums, and the only other time I've been to the UK was to see my other team, which is Coventry City, and got to see them at their old stadium, Highfield Road, which got knocked down years and years ago. But it had that feel of that very old, the old rectangular stadiums and the ironwork and the brick walls and the wooden bleachers and all that sort of stuff. So it was very cool.
My dad has promised me a trip to Anfield for my graduation. So
excellent.
Dad, if you're listening, I'm going to hold you to that. Don't worry.
That's good motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Now that I have an audience, I have to use it for my own personal benefit.
Of course, yeah.
But I also wanted to mention to you, speaking of new venues, AFC and Arbor will be at Concordia this season.
Yep.
And I know that's something that a lot of people are very excited about. What about it excites you the most?
A big part of it is the stability of it, that we know we've got a plan for the next 3 years, that we've made this long-term deal. The facilities are up to snuff from all the point of view of all the minimum standards. So the locker rooms are outstanding there. There's meeting rooms. There's all that sort of built in for the teams when they get there. The field is a full-size pitch. It's 75 or 80 yards wide. So it's a legit full-width field. Although it's black lines, which are kind of hard to see. Not ideal, and there's a lot of red in that stadium for a blue team, but we'll make that work.
Gonna have to fill it up with some blue with the fans.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. And the stands are very nice. They're comfortable. There's some of it's actually got molded seats, so there's some comfort there. A lot of it's bleachers. And then just the facilities in general are nice. There's the concessions is very well set up, all that. So it's set up for a small college, which suits us very well. So
yes,
it's a nice fit.
Yeah. I have driven by several times because I live in that general area, and it's a great facility, and I think people will be very excited with the game day experience there as a whole.
I think so too.
In terms of the game day experience, what is something that you look forward to most in terms of getting out there? Do you have like superstition?
There's definitely superstitions. I'm sort of a Adidas Originals junkie for sneakers, and I bought a pair a few years ago, and I think it was the first year we were in the NPSL, and I wore them the day for the first time, the day that Detroit beat us at home that year.
Oh boy! Did those get binned right away?
Yeah, they're. I wear them occasionally, but never to a soccer game now. So there's some of that. Always wearing the team gear, bringing the scarf. So I'm an owner on the team, but frankly, I'm a much bigger fan than I am an owner. So we live and die for what happens on the field, and when we lose, which doesn't happen that often, but it's always at the most painful times when it does. It's days of pain afterwards. So I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do anything. So but we're pretty passionate fans.
Right. So. In terms of community outreach, what does that mean to you? As you're not from Michigan, actually.
Right.
So what does that mean, giving the people of Ann Arbor a team to support that may not just be the university here?
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that's a big piece of it because Ann Arbor, although it's a U of M town, is pretty transient. There's a lot of people here from other places, right? So, so we've got just on my street that we've got Michigan State fans, Purdue fans, Wisconsin fans. So it's funny because it's a city that brings people together.
Right.
In a cool way, but there are people who their first love is not U of M athletics, and I think it's kind of cool to have something local that you could dive into. And if you are a fan of U of M athletics, it's something in the time of year where you don't have that. There's no basketball, football, softball, all these great sports that the university has. There's a break from that, and it's kind of cool to do something that's more about the city than about the university. So I think that's.
I couldn't agree with you more, especially as someone who'll be living here over the summer. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, thank you very much for coming on. It was great speaking to you, and keep listening to the podcast, please.
I will.
We appreciate your viewership.
Will do. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I am joined by Megan Trapp and Taylor Babcock, who will be playing for the AFC Ann Arbor women's side this season. Thank you both for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Of course, this is the first time I've actually met you guys. This is the first time I've done that, so I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So first and foremost, let's talk about how both of you know Andy. Andy Pritchard, the head coach for the women's side. Did you both get involved through him, or is that something independent of him? Because Bilal mentioned that both of you coached with him for Michigan Tigers.
Correct. Yeah, you've known him longer, right?
Yeah, I've known Pritch for 2 years now, and he came on as the director of the Tigers and kind of asked me to just coach the young side of the girls, and he wanted to make sure that was a big goal of his, was to expand the female side of the program, and we've found some success with that. And then Meg jumped on and helped make it
season later,
further.
right?
Yeah,
I joined
so.
Okay. Yeah, I actually met him through other coaching friends, I guess. So, but yeah, I'm from kind of this area, same with her. So, kind of just know everyone through coaching, I guess.
Yeah. Being from this area, have you found that there's any buzz in particular for the women's side being the inaugural season? Is that a thing you've heard at all, or?
For the league, I feel like it's exciting, and I only say that because I've played in the league for the past 2 years. But for the community, have you heard anything?
I just know the little girls on our teams are probably the most excited compared to anybody else. But I think it'll be a really nice thing for the community just to have kind of a woman's side to the already successful men's side of AFC.
Absolutely.
I feel like once things get going, more people might be able to hear about it, and we'll be able to talk to more people about it. Or when we start deciding who else is on the team, they can tell their friends, and they tell their friends and stuff like that.
It's a big game of telephone.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to talk to you actually, Megan, about your experience in the league. What has that been like for you?
So I played for the past 2 summers, and the league only was created 2 years ago. So basically, I played for the first 2 years of this league. I played for the Legacy Center with their women's team, and the overall league, I think it got better after both seasons went on, and more people maybe knew about it, and more teams had joined, and the competitiveness is pretty high. I think that with more teams being added, it also makes it even more competitive.
Yeah, lots of Michigan-based teams.
Yeah,
too.
and we already know that this community, this area, Metro Detroit in general, is huge on soccer, right? So
absolutely.
I think just it's going to provide obviously more opportunities for girls who maybe are in college still and want to keep pushing themselves maybe over the summer, but also it provides me the opportunity to play when I'm a couple years out. She's still obviously in school, but she stepped away from playing at the collegiate level, but it still allows her to play at that high level.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's great. It's very competitive, which I think is the reason why I like to still play, and I love it. So
Absolutely. Taylor, this is your first year in the league, correct?
Yes, it is my first year in the league.
What is that like for you?
You know what? I'm coming out of retirement. Andy Pritchard is my boss, and he told me I was playing, so I decided I liked my job, and I said, all right, sounds good. But no, I'm just actually excited to get on the field and compete. I think that feeling is something you miss over time for sure, and there's really nothing like being back on the field. So I'm excited for the opportunity to just get on the field and play a little bit.
Get back out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In terms of being a coach, you both have been coaches, but is that something that'll be able to help you guys out on the pitch this season?
I think so. I think it gives you a different perspective of the game, and I actually think sometimes even going back to the level Meg and I both coach younger girls, 2011s, 2012s Meg coaches, and she also coaches 08s, but for the little ones especially, it really takes you back to the fundamentals of the game and some of the things you forget about. So I am excited to see how kind of having that experience of being on the sidelines and trying to instruct others through the simplicity of the game will either help me on the field. I'm hoping. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, coaching brings out a different side on the field. Well, being a coach brings out a different side on the field because I feel like I notice more stuff, and I feel like I could possibly be annoying on the field when I'm like, no, to your left, or like, no, you're not supposed to be there. But when really it's just kind of going along with it. But I think it's a good thing that I have the experience of coaching, obviously, because like she said, it makes us maybe bring us back to the fundamentals of the game, and even just break it down to make it so simple. But like I said, I probably am kind of annoying to the people around us because I'm like, no, you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be over there.
We need it. I need it.
But no, I think it brings an advantage because I feel like after from playing for 4 years in college and then turning into for a full-time coach, I guess, and then now playing again, I think that I've learned more about the game and I've learned more about myself in the game. So I feel like I've almost become a better player from when I was even before.
Okay.
Putting both of them together, I guess.
Combining it.
Yeah, so
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I would have never thought about it, especially in the way of going back to the fundamentals, where it's instructing children to be like, no, you got to do this.
It's very simple.
Dynamic of it.
It is very simple. So.
In terms of being both youth coaches and then now stepping out into the community, what's it going to be like as being role models for these for the young girls who are going to be watching you guys? You already have a bit of experience with that as coaches too, as well.
You know what? I think I'm just excited to show I coach a group of 2011 girls. They're fantastic, and I think I'm more just excited to show them that the game is a gift, and it really is. It's something that'll kind of you'll have in your life forever. I'm coming out of retirement, so I think I'm a little bit of proof of that. But I think that even as a female and young females, it's such a good source of confidence growing up and being able to kind of be this fierce soccer player on the field. And I think it translates into how you can live your life and work hard and be just as fierce on the field as you are off. So I think I'm really excited for the opportunity to just kind of show them that, girls are awesome and that we're going to have fun this summer, kind of
doing what we love to do.
Yeah, getting to be on the field and enjoy it.
That's perfect. I love that. That's living as fierce as you are off the pitch as you are on it.
Yes.
That's great.
I think the best thing that we could do is just be positive role models in kind of the actions that we do. And I think that, maybe them being around the game can show them how passionate we are for the game and tell them the reasons why we love the game. But it's also an opportunity that I never thought I'd get to have, kind of, until this league started. And one of the coaches called me and were like, "We're doing it." And I'm like, "We're doing what?" They're like, "Semi-professional soccer." I'm like, "Really?" Oh my gosh. I thought I was done, same with her. I thought that after playing, in college for 4 years at a Division I level, I thought that walking away from college, okay, well, now I can move on and do other things. But it kind of allows us to have that opportunity and show the girls that growing up playing is kind of more than a sport, and you can play it for maybe longer than you expected. But I think another big thing is the confidence, showing the girls that we love what we do, and hopefully we can spread that with them and help them gain confidence and show them maybe that we're also not perfect. We make mistakes on the field, and maybe we don't play every minute because that's just not realistic. So, because a lot of girls, at the young age are, I want to play every minute, I want to score all the goals, but, that's not realistic. I don't really score many goals. I don't play every game, and especially in college, I didn't do much impact with, point-wise, scoring goals or getting assists, but I think that the minutes that I put in were pretty good for the team.
You can influence the game in many ways other than just scoring.
Exactly, sure.
In terms of an inaugural season, it's always something exciting, especially I know the organization is thrilled about it. Is there something exciting about that also, helping you're going to be part of a squad that's really kicking off their lifetime?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. Just like she said, the men's side is very successful. This crew here makes it very successful, and with now creating the women's side of it, it's going to bring more people involved, and it can only go up from here. And hopefully, we can get it started on a good, on the right step, on a good note. And obviously there's going to be bumps in the road and, mistakes that are made, but I don't think that with the community that we have here, with the soccer community that we have here, just putting them both together, I think that it could definitely be able to grow and grow and grow and grow.
I agree with that. I would say kind of when you get to be the first of something, the inaugural, you kind of just go off of what the culture is and kind of run with it. So I think I'm excited for that because I think we'll just have I think we're going to have a tight-knit group that just kind of tries to put out a good style of soccer and show up all in for 90 minutes of play. So I think kind of just even setting that standard and seeing where it'll take us will be a good way to start off the inaugural season.
Exactly. I want to push a little back, not in the present, but in the past, how did both of you get started in terms of playing soccer? Is it something that
very young, I guess. For me, I think I just signed up for a rec league. My mom and dad signed me up, and I was playing probably at age 4. Things were a little different, I think, when we were younger, just because, you played rec for a while, you joined a club, and then you kind of move on from there. You play around with some high school teams, and then if you wanted to continue your game, you obviously had to be recruited. But, I think I just played rec, signing up for a random team. My mom always said that I wanted to play goalie. I just stood there, so just really happy that I got out of that one. But yeah, young. young for me, and I think that's really all I did up until now, I guess. So.
Yeah.
I also got started really young. I was the youngest, so I think I was at the soccer field and just jumped in. But my parents say I was 3, so I'll have to believe them because I don't really remember. But,
Take their word for it.
yeah, and then I had kind of a little bit of a different experience. I played rec for a really long time, and I also just played a bunch of sports growing up. So it wasn't until actually junior year of high school that I just started only playing soccer. So I kind of got serious about it then and chose, okay, this is going to be the one. But I also think that kept my passion for the game too, is just always having a bunch of different sports going on. And then when it came time to decide, I definitely knew it was soccer.
Yeah, 8th grade, I was like, I'm going to play in college.
Yeah.
I was like 10 years old.
You made that
or
decision?
Yeah, close enough.
13 years old. Probably 10, yeah. Yeah.
Very funny. But in terms of looking back into the present, is there something where after this inaugural season, do you have expectations or hopes that you can look back and say, this season was a success because blank?
She already mentioned this, but I think that a big thing is getting a good group of girls committed and kind of just putting that 100% effort into, the practices, and then obviously we have to turn up to the games and compete. So I think the one thing that is a high focus, I would say, is just making sure that you're not half in and you just kind of put all of your energy into what you're doing. And some people can't make it because they have jobs and internships and, they do things during the day that require them to make money. And I get that because I work in the evening, so I'm kind of lucky with my schedule. But when we're there, when we're practicing for that hour and a half, 2 hours, and then obviously when we're playing the games, I think that just putting that effort into it and making it worth the while. Because like I said, like the talent the competitiveness is really high. The talent's pretty high. So it's kind of like, if you're gonna come do this, you got to give it your all, or else you're not going to be able to compete in this league. So.
Right.
And I think kind of very similar. Again, I think we just need to get a good team culture going. That's going to be all in. And I think personally too, just, leaving it all on the field, coming out of retirement, just nothing to lose really, so just completely kind of getting back into the swing of things and having fun with it, and really just making sure that
definitely want to enjoy myself. I'm
just
not
making sure that your time on the field is definitely a good representation of how you want to be a player.
Yeah.
Now, Taylor, Bilal told me that your mom's best friend is already involved with AFCAA Arbor.
Yes,
Can you
Lisa
take us through that?
Lisa McDowell, phenomenal human being, my mom's best friend as well. She, we went to grade school, actually. I went to grade school with her kids, and our parents became friends, and she is a phenomenal human being. She's the nutritionist for the team, I understand. So she's been always giving me little tidbits on the side. I've got my tart cherry juice going already, Lisa, so I'm going to keep that going.
Is that the packet you gave me?
Yes,
that was amazing. I love that.
Yes, Megan, I gave her, she gave me, Meg and I ran a marathon this summer, and so she gave us,
Not together, but
different, but we suffered together training.
26 miles.
But she had given me something to it was a pre-run thing, so I gave
what
it
is
to,
it called?
I think it's UCAN or something like that.
Yeah, UCAN.
But yes, so she's a great person, and I'm excited that she's involved as well. It'll be fun.
That's very fun.
So do we get to see her then, I'm assuming, right? Do I get to meet her?
Yeah, you'll meet her.
Okay, cool.
We'll make it happen.
We'll pull some strings.
Yeah.
We'll get you an audience.
Cool.
But in terms of just being around the community of Ann Arbor, you played at Eastern Michigan.
I did.
You were in Washtenaw County.
Yeah.
Is it something what do you love most about the community of Ann Arbor?
Oh my gosh,
It's a loaded question.
That's a loaded question. Well, for me, I'm from this area, so I grew up in Plymouth Canton, and kind of the older that I got, I started to come up here with my friends, and there's just so many things to do, and I think that it's a good city feel, but it's not too big and it's not too small. I think that it's growing, but it's growing in a good way because of the quality of, life around here is getting better, and there's more stores, there's more things to do. And with living in Ypsi, kind of just outside of 10 minutes away, even in college, head right over to Ann Arbor, lots of good restaurants, lots of, bar life and going out, things to do at night, things to do on the weekend. And I've never had anything bad happen. Obviously, there's stuff that does go down. But I just like the city because it always offers, I think, something new, something good to do. Lots of good food, I think.
Lots of good food.
Yeah,
Great
lots of good food, lots of good coffee places. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I've basically been going here my whole life, and obviously more so now because I work here and I'm here a lot. So
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I go to school in Michigan in Ann Arbor, so I'm around the area lots, and it's been a fun place to be for 3 years now. Yep, 3 years now, and I love it. I love being able to walk, and I love Meg, the little coffee shops and the small town but city feel.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm happy to be right downtown, right in the city, and also now get to kind of just be a part of the community. I think it's always good as a student to get outside of the little bubble that is Michigan sometimes.
It's hard. I attend there too.
Okay.
So it's difficult.
It is.
But
it's
I live off campus now, so that helps a little bit.
Yeah, that would help. Yes, it's quite a competitive atmosphere, and sometimes it gets to be a lot. So it's always nice. I really find it when go to coach soccer, kind of getting to be around the families and the communities too. Always just gives you a different perspective of the town as well.
Yeah, there's lots of people here, lots of different types of people, and all very good people, and just basically a good place to be, I think.
All right. Well, before I let you guys go, last question.
Okay.
What is the one thing you're looking most forward to for this upcoming season?
I don't know.
Let's see.
I think for me probably would be the new set of girls that I'm going to be working with and the coaching staff. Only because we kind of know one side. I previously have known some of the coaches, so it's kind of like, okay, well, I know them this way. How are they going to be as my coach?
Yeah, yes.
So I think that'll be kind of cool to see.
That's a very fun dynamic.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited.
You're excited to play.
I'm just,
Aren't you?
I am. For me, I think I'm
field.
just excited for the opportunity. I didn't think I was going to have an opportunity to play again, so I'm just excited for the opportunity to play again.
Yeah.
Well, I know I speak for all of AFC Ann Arbor when we're really excited to have you both on board. And thank you for coming on the podcast as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you all for watching week 4 of Welcome to Tree Town. We will be back again next week with another episode. Take care.